Every generation has had a music anime. The ancients had K-On!, the men had Bocchi the Rock, the children had Girl Band Cry, and
today's generation has sweaty girls playing music. This season, I'm gonna be honest, in my personal opinion, I think this season's been kind of mid with the anime, alright? You got a few standout ones, but generally, you've got the same old cliches as you usually have. You got Guna Slop, you got Fantasy Slop, and you've got... Is that Limp Bizkit? But the one that's got me in a chokehold this season is about a bunch of Tory girls going sick nasty in a band. Now, to give an outline of the show is called Rock is a Lady's Modesty. It's a music anime that centers around a character called Lilissa Suzunomiya. God, eventually I'm gonna get better at these, I swear. Now, Lilissa, she's got what you'd call a bit of a split personality. Not in a schizo way, but in a way that she lives a double life. So on the surface, she's this girl trying to be very proper. She's trying to impress the Suzunomiya bloodline, you know? Stay proper, stay clean, the proper old money way. And she's quite good at it. Everyone loves her like this. But deep down inside, she's just a regular ass girl, alright? She doesn't know any of that fake shit. But to get more in depth, as you might have guessed it, she's also pretty good at playing music, alright? She plays the guitar, and she is sick nasty at it. I'd argue maybe even better than the Bocchi. I don't know. But as you might have guessed, she's also pretty good at playing music. Shock. Oh my god. Music anime has musician? Oh. But as you go through and learn about her double life, you find out that the one that takes priority is the fake one. Mainly so she can prevent herself from ruining her mum's marriage, which, I mean, I don't know if this is how marriages work in the upper crust, but, you know. I guess playing the guitar is the same as running off to be with a boy. Now you might be there thinking, there's no room for rock in a proper and prim school. Bureaucrats hate fun. Why on earth would they play any cool instruments when they got boring orchestra? Orchestra cringe. High key though, some of this is gas, I ain't gonna lie. And if you thought she's not meant to be playing that music, you would be right. Now she ends up meeting someone else called Otoha Kuragane, who's another girl at this posh school, and the one that is just ahead of Lilissa in terms of being a proper lady. So they're there, they're competing for this title called like the fucking #1 Bell End Award. I don't remember what it's called. I ain't looking it up. And as she's walking by in the hallway, she drops a guitar pick. Lilissa sees this and she's like, is that what I think it is? Why is there a guitar pick in here? This isn't a place for filth like that. And then the next day, Kuragane comes back. She's like, oh, I dropped something precious. So Suzunomiya, she does the realistic thing and follows her home. Kidding. She follows her to return the guitar pick. And through doing this, she's like, yo, I got a guitar pick for you. And she's like, yo, how do you know that's a guitar pick? Which leads to her doing plausible deniability and be like, oh, I'm just really educated. I'm dead clever, me. Oh, why I'm on. Which then leads to her doing the easiest rage bait of her life and be like, oh, all right, maybe you do know what a guitar is. You just fucking suck ass at it. And this absolutely shatters Lilissa and forces her to just lock in and start going ham on the guitar. But to her surprise, Kuragane is absolutely mental on the drums, alright? She matches the freak, and she struggles to keep up with her. Now, you know how most music anime is about finding a balance between music and life, and being able to work well in a band together. Yeah, not this one. After the intense session from both of them, you know what they do? They start absolutely ripping into each other. It's like they just threw a round of Search and Destroy. Oh my days, this takes me back to COD.
Bro, you sound like a bitch.
Now, I don't want to spoil too much, but that's pretty much what happens in the first episode. And yeah, that's a handful. But that's what I think is so amazing about this anime. Look, I very briefly skimmed over that in my schizo reductionist way, but there is so many different plot lines that is just in the first episode alone. It's so deep. Not deep in a sense of like emotionally deep, but deep in a sense of it's so condensed, you know? Like, let me get some of the examples. Let's take a look at these. You've got the band and their progression into becoming a proper band, you know? You got the relationship between Lilissa and her mum. You've got the relationship between Lilissa and the little goblin. You got the violin side quest. This bitch is an art, by the way. And then you've got the most important plot line of them all with the English progression.
I feel that carelessness and overconfidence are the things that bring a shadow over our lives.
Oh my god, I get it. I understand how the teacher feels. Now, I've very briefly summed it up, but you want to know what I like about the show? It feels like a new take on the genre. It uses all the working parts of the music anime girl formula and then throws some twists in to make it unique. Like, there's so many examples of this. You got the music itself with it being upbeat and rock, but then there's no vocalist. You got the people of where it's a girl band, but they're all just completely toxic and weirdly sweaty. And then you've got the setting, you know? Usually these settings take place in, like, just the average high school. No, you got the whole classroom of the elite here, all alright? But I do have just a few gripes with this show. First up, I can't tell if this anime is the best or the worst animation that I've ever seen. Look at this first scene, alright? You see this? You see the 3D animation? And you're like, holy shit, failure frame, welcome back. I'm usually not too fussy about this. I don't mind a bit of 3D animation. But how do you go from a shot like this to another like this where it has the most amazing colors you've ever seen, alright? I'll be optimistic and just chalk it up to cutting a few corners to, you know, make a better end product. Also, speaking of animation, dude, the intro and the outro are so heat. Shock. Music anime has good intro and outro. Hey, you gotta remember, there is shows like K-On!, alright? First up, this outro has the prettiest color scheme I've ever seen, alright? I don't know what it is. There's these nice pastel and these bright colors all fucking contrasting. It is amazing. I love it. And then there's the intro, which so perfectly encapsulates what the show is about and what everyone's personalities are like. But this one, fucking perfect, alright? But my other gripe, why are they so damn sweaty, man? Is this a metaphor for them being literal sweat to their instrument? Like, I understand that, say, being on stage and going absolutely brazy on something like the drums can get tiring. I understand that. But they're in a ventilated room. They're not even on stage. Crack a window, bro. Or get a fan, man. They've been doing too much. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I like this show a lot. This is probably my favorite this season. Although there have been a few bangers. It's very hit or miss this season. I don't know if that's just me. You've got a bunch of 10s and then you've got everything else, alright? Might be some slight bias in that though, you know, with it being a music anime. I know I'm famous for hating those. Okay, that's all. I'll see you guys in the next one.